These platforms are all about selling you items.
Paranormal activity. They shot it on a Sony Handycam.
So the last thing you should be doing is spending a bunch of money on something that's not guaranteed.
We're just sitting on a desk, reviewing gear and talking about specs. I have a question, and it is, why do filmmakers focus too much on gear? That is a very good question to start with. So you can start with it.
Yeah, so I would say that the reason filmmakers focus too much on gear is because in this day and time with YouTube, most people learned how to film from things like YouTube, and these platforms are all about selling you items. And so why would you have enhanced your skills when you're being told the reason you're not good at what you do is because you don't have this? It's not because you don't have this skill, it's because you don't have this product. So I think that is the driving force behind I need gear, is just actually not knowing what you're doing because you were taught by someone who is teaching you very little so that they can get you to buy more things.
So that's like, I would say it is kind of like a two-headed monster. One you already pointed out, which is the person selling you the stuff and turning you into a consumer, which is part of the whole capitalism stuff. But then you are an enabler by watching the videos and looking for gear and clicking on those videos, when a lot of people that I hear in the comments, they are complaining that they're getting a lot of videos like that. So I would say yes, it is a problem that us as creators, we're pushing that into the community too much. There's got to be a balance, but we also enable it too when we watch these videos, and we don't want to really watch them. But
yeah, no, I think, there is that side as well. But I think like that insecurity to watch it definitely comes from that being so predominant. I mean, until more recent years, like, 6-7 years ago, you'd be on YouTube, you wouldn't even have anybody who was just purely telling you how to shoot. And from what I used to watch, this is just my personal experience. So once I started shooting and everything, I'm thinking I need autofocus. I'm thinking I need so many things that I now know that I didn't need, but, was afraid to step outside of it because the insecurity was created by the fact that everyone who I watched was teaching me that I needed this to be good at what I'm doing, and this is not good enough. This is not good enough. So it was like insecurity was the product more than anything else. Like,
right.
You're buying the lens, but you're buying it because they told you the lens you have is not good enough. So, and I think, could you say that we enable it? Yes, but you could also say that they're the creator. It's their choice whether or not they make this or something else.
You're being trained to have this mindset so that you spend money that you don't have to spend. I could use an example. I'm not going to drop a name, but you know who you are, bro. I like you. He's one of our subscribers. And when I said that I was going to sell my GH5, he, put like a sad emoji and stuff. But I'm not really attached to gear anymore. And the reason why I'm selling the GH5 is not because it's not a capable camera. It is a very capable camera even today, although it came out 7-8 years ago. But the reason is because I put more importance to the lenses. And the lenses are full frame, so therefore I'm gonna be moving to a full frame camera, which is the S5. Which is a very affordable camera as well. It's almost the same price as the GH5, probably $100 more. So I'm like, why not upgrade to that?
Yeah, because you're only doing it for the purpose of what you can get from it, and that is to get the full view of what the lens is supposed to look like. Because if it's a Helios, which that's what he has, you're not going to be able to get the characteristic. So that's a very reasonable thing to do, and it just makes more sense overall if that's the tool for the job. And I think that's where we could transition to like the fact that there is a gear obsession problem where it's instead of I'm going to get the GH5 or I'm going to get the S5 because of the reasons we just stated, I'm going to get the S5 because I have to have a full frame, because would I be who I am without a full frame? Would I be a good shooter? Would I be a, professional?
Right. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, when there are things outside of YouTube that I do understand people saying, but I also can't give it too much credit. Which one is I've heard, from the gear obsession problem is when people will work with clients, they'll say, I work with a client, I came with the rig, everything looking professional,
Right.
and I got so much business off of it. That's what they'll say, right? Or, they weren't taking me serious when I just had it. They're like, that's all you're gonna shoot with, which I think you ran into that
Oh yeah.
before as well.
100%. Yeah.
But if you had honed your craft before you ever got these gigs, would you care about that? Or would you go, I don't care what they think because I know that finished product is going to get me business regardless, right?
Right.
So I think that there's a danger in jumping out into the world too fast and not jumping out in the world at all when it comes to filmmaking, whether that be for YouTube or not. So with YouTube, I think it's perfect to just go, boom, like just go post immediately, whatever it is. The worst video, so-called, you think you could possibly make, just make it because you will progress. But if it's as far as like working with clients, I think that the gear obsession problem is going to definitely get worse if you go out and do that too early. You really need to
Yeah.
learn it.
Yeah. And that's a good point, bro. Especially when I believe that I have spent a whole lot of money, that if you give me, I will say, a third of that money right now, I will even come out with extra money on my pockets, because I will go straight to the S5, which is probably like $600 or $700, let's put it. I'll get two vintage lenses, the Helios and the Mirror One, and whatever else I need, like media cards and stuff like that, and I'm
Yep.
good to go.
Yeah, that's
Period.
it.
And that is probably like $1,200 at most. And I'll be making the same great content that I'm making at this moment. And like I said before, I'm not getting rid of the GH5 because it's not capable, because it's extremely capable. But I want to get the exact character of the lenses that I have right now at this moment. So the S5 is a better camera for it. But other than that, every camera they make at this point is freaking great. Reviewers have a hard time saying anything negative about gear anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think that to say something negative about the gear that exists today outside of price range, maybe it's priced too much or whatever, it is kind of ridiculous, because ultimately, what are we talking about? Are we saying that the gear isn't good when it can, almost everything that's came out in the last couple years can shoot 10-bit? So I don't want to hear that. Almost all of these things, definitely all of them can shoot 4K, so I don't want to hear that. 1080p, no matter what you think, literally is fine.
Yep.
No matter what you say, at the end of the day, you have the tools. And the crazier thing is, the most money being made right now by people online, and I know this is going to hurt you guys' feelings who care about money a lot, it's from people with their iPhone or their Samsung phone or whatever, their Google Pixel. Isn't it crazy how they're filming with that with no problems, getting view after view after view, sponsorship after sponsorship? Maybe they make skits, maybe they go like this, in a video or whatever. They're getting views.
They are.
And they're reaching audiences, because at the end of the day, they're doing the one thing many people in the community aren't doing. They're telling stories, and they're creating the content and actually putting it out there, and not keeping it locked in whatever vault on their computer that a lot of us in the filmmaking community do. And even bigger, they're not obsessed with getting the next iPhone to shoot. Like, if they get one, you probably wouldn't even know it because they're not going to talk about it.
Right.
They're just going to do it. So I think what really matters is the storytelling, the composition, the lighting, and most importantly, doing it. Doing it is first. Like, we're talking about YouTube, or we're talking about some other social media platform. We're talking about a place where people post their dinner and their cookies and their
Cats and
dogs
stuff.
and cats. I mean, like, there's nothing to be afraid of, because trust me, people post even way crazy stuff than that, embarrassing things, and will do it repeatedly after they get some views. So don't be afraid to just put it out there, whatever you're making, and don't be afraid to even use your phone if you have nothing else, because the point is to create an audience to watch you. The point is to create a community, to gather these views. And if your real purpose is that you want to sell gear, do it. But be a good salesman. I mean, Jesus, go out and actually make someone want to buy the camera. They're not going to want to buy it because you sit in a studio all day, I promise you. They're going to buy it because they're like, man, look what can be done with it.
Right, what's possible.
Yeah, like, it's the reason why somebody probably go into Hollywood right now and be like, you know what, I got to shoot this on a RE camera. I have to, because of all of the films that they've seen shot on it. They're not going to walk in there and go, I need the GH2. That's what I got to shoot with. You know, because there's not a lot of examples. And people, oh, well, that's outdated, whatever. So I think that if you really want to make it on YouTube or any other platform, or just be happy with what you're doing as far as a filmmaker, composition, lighting, story, the rest doesn't matter. Even if you're shooting Rec 709, if your story and your lighting and composition are on point, it's going to look better than the best colorist work you can possibly come up with. Trust me. So,
Yeah. I will talk about the point that you gave, which is a lot of creators will sell a lot more gear if they actually use the gear itself. And there is an interesting comment that somebody left on my channel when I posted a question related to this. And her name is Curly Soul with a K. And she said, and I never thought of it this way, but she said that imagine if you're watching an artist and this artist is sitting on their desk reviewing pens, but not making art with it. And I'm like, I never thought of it, but that would be crazy and boring, and I wouldn't watch it. And that's what we're doing as filmmakers, you know, like we're just sitting on a desk reviewing gear and talking about specs, and sometimes criticizing a camera just because of one thing you didn't get, like 6K 120.
yeah, which is crazy. And, you know, that's a great point, because, you know, my wife watches YouTube like crazy, but it's usually like the beauty community. Do you know how unlikely it is that you, if you went in the beauty community, would get even one single view if you had all these makeup products and you weren't showing people what that makeup product looked on your skin?
Oh, imagine that, bro.
And that is essentially what this community is. It's a community that literally doesn't work in any other format on YouTube. It's like, you're going to tell me how to fix a car, but not fix the car.
Right.
Why would I watch that? But that is what has happened. And I think it's because there's a lot of talk about specs. And yeah, they will show you these stupid tests, okay, of sharpness and all. No, the test of a camera is the actual shooting of it. Like, I'm not going to test out a car like care that you tested out a car by putting like a stick on the
brake or
the brake or the accelerator, and, you know, had the car where the wheels were not able to actually touch anything. So you go, this is how fast of a speed we can
Right.
get up
It
with the
goes
car.
0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds.
I would only watch that on a science channel because that's some science channel stuff. And to be honest, that is what the problem is. A lot of what is going on is scientific side of cameras.
Right.
But it's being marketed as the shooting side. No. This is not actual real world usage. This is science stuff. That stuff don't matter when it comes to a camera. I can give a camera to people who have zero technical knowledge, but just have an eye for how things look. And I'll be like, dang, you did so dope with it. Like, I had never thought to shoot it that way or something. And then give it to the technical guy, and everything is perfectly bright and, no shadows, no
exposure,
contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
a
like, I
really
don't
good
want to
point.
see that.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think that a lot of people who are very technical and they care too much about the specs and the technicality of it, they get so drawn into it that they don't even know what to film when you give them a camera, and that's a big problem. And to go back to the point that this gear obsession doesn't matter at all, you can give out a movie that you know that was shot on something that people call inferior gear. I guess you can start with any movie that you know
Yeah,
about.
so there is a film called Upstream Color, and it is such a good example of, the concept of using gear that is so-called not good enough. And the camera they shot it with is the GH2, right? Some people are hardly as old who are watching this video as the GH2. So the fact that this camera was shot with that, and they used Nikon AI lenses, which, going back to the last video we did, that is the lens that I'm using on this camera, is a 24 millimeter Nikon AI lens. They used the Voigtlander 25 millimeter 0.95 for the dark scenes, and they used the Canon FD lenses as well. And they also did most of the shooting with natural lighting for this film. This is a film that is a legitimate film. So mostly natural lighting, and also there was minimal, dialogue and things like that. And they still were able to put this film out here and make it. Now, the GH2, I will have to say that it was hacked so that they could push the bit rate and image quality beyond the factory limits. But you wasn't pushing it that far, I'm sure. I could be wrong, but
Not to today's standards.
yeah, I'm sure that
cameras, right?
this camera right here is shooting way better than whatever they did. And if you watch the film, you'll see that it's not like some significant grading and, the dynamic range is super crazy, but it looks pleasing. And the point is that if you can shoot a film like that for the feature film, then the GH2 is good enough for YouTube. The iPhone is good enough for YouTube. And speaking of that, you could speak on a film shot on the iPhone.
Yeah. Before I touch that, Paranormal Activity, right? Which was shot in 2007 and had a micro budget of $15,000. That's insanity. And they made $193 million out of it. But they shot it on a Sony Handycam. A Sony Handycam. When I saw that movie, I thought that it was real. Like, this happened because they used the right tool for the job.
Exactly.
And I'm sure you can buy that camera for like $100 right now, probably. Who knows? But yeah, there's another movie that they shot on the iPhone, and I'm looking for it right now.
It's called Tangerine.
Oh yeah, Tangerine is another one. They also shot the Florida.
Florida Project's last scene.
The last scene, not
is
the
with
whole
the
movie.
iPhone 6, and that one was the Tangerine was an iPhone 5S.
5S, yes.
And this is the most significant thing about this. I said it in the last video, but the man who I think his name is Sean Baker, this man won multiple Oscars at this point. And if the iPhone is good enough for him, like, what are we talking about? Like, how could you be above the quality of an iPhone if it can find its way into, award-winning feature films? I mean, like, what are we talking about? Now, does that mean, yeah, you have to use one for everything? No. But it's more like this. If you started a channel, right? And I'm going to give you some examples of certain things. But there's a channel that I've recently ran into called Flesh Simulator. This guy has a bunch of different cameras. All of them are old. He shoots on a Blackmagic 4K right now. He has more subscribers than I have, or he has 344,000, okay? And most of what he does is grab a microphone, he got some light in here, and he talks about all kind of conspiracies and stuff. But the whole point is that he doesn't have any videos talking about what he shoots with. He has one video, that's it. Other than that, he spends his time storytelling, and he has built a world around what he makes. And there's a lot of channels like that. And what I want to point out is that when he first started, he said, I had a light that was like something that was for photography. It was this bright blue floodlight, and I started wearing these orange glasses to film when I did it. And the reason I started wearing them was because the light was just blinding me. I had it right behind the camera, he said. And he said, eventually, I was able to buy this Elgato key light. Then he has the Elgato key light. He says, so now I'm not blind. But then I was like, hey, might as well keep wearing the glasses, right? And the point I'm trying to make to you is that is just one example of what he did. He did not go, I am limited by what I have. He said, I have what I have, and I'm going to make what I make. And then down the road, he said, I guess I'll upgrade it or whatever. But the upgrade came because the content was there. The upgrade came because the filmmaking was there. The filmmaking has to be there to justify purchases. The filmmaking has to be there to justify upgrades. And save your damn money. I'm sorry, but think about it. If you decide to be a filmmaker on YouTube, you say, I'm going to make films. That's what you're doing. If you're watching this video, you either already there or you're thinking about doing it. Why would you're already going to give your blood, sweat, and tears to this. This is what we do. Trust me, we're not getting paid for this yet. We may never get paid for this. Of course, that sounds crazy, but I want you to understand the reality of what we're doing. So the last thing you should be doing is spending a bunch of money on something that's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed, and there's no, I put in an hour today, I'm getting $7. We're not even getting $7, so
Zero.
Think of it that way. Like, I'm not going to over-invest in something financially that is already going to require my labor. So that should motivate you even more to be awesome with what you have. Because then by the time it's time to upgrade and the money's flowing and everything like that, you're going to go and get the best camera for the job. Because he didn't upgrade from a whatever Canon camera he had. He didn't upgrade from that to, let me go get a Ari, like some of our YouTube salesmen. He upgraded to a Blackmagic 4K because that was the best tool for the job, in his opinion. And that meant no autofocus, but I don't want to go there yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically what I want to say. And I just also want to point out that there are channels like his and others like Cold Fusion and Super Mega, just for a couple of names to throw out there so that you can understand that they aren't talking about filmmaking, but they're filmmaking. And go and see for yourself if you think I'm lying. They're filmmaking. Don't think that you are just held down to just, I have to make certain videos about certain things. I have to be in this box, because you don't. Because if that was the case, Steven Spielberg wouldn't exist. And look at Steven Spielberg. He has made a plethora of movies in different genres. And if he boxed himself in, we would have never gotten Jurassic Park or E.T., or Jaws. Think about that.
Yeah. So, I will say that I would like to shift the focus of the conversation back to filmmaking, actually. And what we can do here is go back to the good old days. And I want you to take this challenge, and I'm going to do it too. And it is that you should grab your camera, a tripod, and one lens, and just go out there and get a short film done or get a YouTube video done, a vlog, anything that you're into, just get it done with just a couple of batteries, your camera, a lens, and a tripod if you need that. And start learning the filmmaking process by actually practicing. A lot of you guys be over learning because you never feel ready, because you are afraid of being judged, because
Yeah.
you're not there yet. Don't worry about any of that. Get something done, film, edit, get better, post it out there, and don't think too much about any of this. Just go out there and shoot. I like back in the good old days, back in 2017, when Peter McKinnon and everybody that is big now was just grabbing a cheap camera, a lens, and that was it. And they were out there, not in the freaking office, but just out there filming. And that will motivate me to do the same, because I'm like, oh, if they can do that, I can do it too. But now, for example, Mari Hapoya, now he's with Ari stuff. Like, that's not affordable for us anymore. That is more a film crew or something like that. So I want to take
Not practical at all.
filmmaking back into the solo filmmaking, that we can do anything with a camera. You know what I'm
And it's
saying?
true. I mean, I want to add to the challenge beyond everything he said, which was to grab a lens, single lens, camera, tripod, go out and film something of some nature. Let's add and post it
Yeah.
online, whether that be social media. It could be 30 seconds, social media, YouTube, long format, whatever way you want to do it, but just post it. And remember this, no matter if 5 people have seen your film or 5 million have seen your film or your vlog or whatever it is, even if it's sitting in some vault, say you show it to your girlfriend, boyfriend, or spouse, somebody is going to judge it. And you have no control over how they feel about it. So why care if just one person could lie to you and say, oh, I really liked your film, and they hated it, but they like you as a person. They don't want to tell you the truth. So you think, oh, I haven't been judged yet, but they might be like, this is an awful film. I hate this. There's a great clip I saw that of this lady. It's like this guy's playing the drums, and this lady, his girlfriend or whatever she is, he's showing her like, oh, like, you know, check out what I'm doing. And she's just looking at him like, okay, like, I don't give a damn. And that's his girlfriend, right? And the thing is, he didn't care. He thought it was funny. He made a video out of it. You have to apply that to every facet of what you're doing. Caring about what people think about what you're doing will limit what you're doing. Like, yeah, we all want to feel good. We all want people to like us, but it just unfortunately isn't always the case. And the bigger notion is that you put it out in the world, the people around you who may not like it or appreciate it, there are people who are out here who will appreciate it. And even if it's 5, I got 24 subscribers, okay? Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a very good point. For my closing argument, I have a video right here that I shot in 2020, all right? That's like after me having, I don't know, 2 years of experience with a nice camera. And this video is a reflection of back in that time. There is a lot of slow-mo. Everything was shot in slow-mo. A lot of speed ramps. Remember those days?
Yeah, man, that was...
Yo.
What a nightmare, but it is what it was. That's what we learned.
And the point is, that same camera, I have it right now. And I guarantee you, the footage that I get with that camera is so much better than what I was getting at that time. And that's because the only change here is not really the gear. I didn't get better lenses. I gained knowledge. I gained technique and stuff like that. And that made my product, which is the videos, much better. You know, that is the last thing I'm gonna say.
Yeah, no, I would say for me to close out, listen, you are a filmmaker no matter what gear you have. And if you think that the gear defines the filmmaker, please attach all these cameras to all the filmmakers that ever existed. That you can't do that, right? You don't know what they shot it on, but you can attach the film to them. So think of it that way. Like my body of work isn't what I shot with. It is what the results of what I shot with created. And that's all that matters. So go out here and get some results. I'm going to keep filming. He's going to keep filming. And at the end of the day, no matter what you're shooting with, if you keep filming, you will go from the footage he just showed you to the footage that you see today. That's all I got to say. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. We are better than what we've been in the past, so let's prove it.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say.
And check our channels. We're going to link our channels down below. And I'll see you in the next one.
In the next one, peace.